This may seem intuitive, but one of the things I do when I'm planning for the next year, beyond the goals and getting prepared for it, is I do a deep dive into my systems and my file systems specifically. And I go in and I declutter them. Just like one would declutter their home or declutter their office, I declutter them. All of us can probably think about the fact that as we work, we accumulate many, many files. And these files will just sit on our computer somewhere and they will just rot or they will become an actual impediment to us being productive throughout the day. So, one of the key things is I try to look at how are they structured and are there ones that need to be archived? I'm a big fan of Tiago Forte's most recent book and framework around the power method, projects, areas, resources, and archives. At first, I thought this was overly simplistic, but as I've spent time with this and I've realized that how much I thought I was had things organized, I really had things in a bit of a mess from that perspective. So what I do is I go into each and every single one of my systems and try to replicate that. And I don't know if you all have this same thing that you will see, but I will realize that I have systems everywhere. So it's not just what my day-to-day laptop says, but it's my iPad, it's my bookmarks, it's any of the note-taking systems that we may use. All of these have different structures, and what I realize is that there are lots of files. I've become very keen on getting rid of all of the folder structures, for example, in my email clients. Most email clients are superb at searching, so I archive mostly everything because I can just search for it instead of making cumbersome folder structures for things. So I go through every single one of my file systems and say, what do I have and why do I have it? And the thing that I've learned, and this is something that I was not really great at until most recently, is naming the files appropriately. I need to be very specific in regards to the file structure. So there's two things that I do, and you may do something different. So please share a comment on the way you structure your systems. Is I put the date in front of it, and yes, I use the American date system of month, day, and year, and I put it in a very straight format, and then I very specifically say what that file is. I don't leave the naming convention that a system would create if you download something or if you complete something. It'll just say image or movie or some random characters. I try to be very intentional about what the thing is named. And then from there, I will put it in one of those systems. What I've learned is that, for example, my Apple Notes, I did not know how much mess, I was going to use another word, starts with a C, how much mess is in there. But once I started to look at it and say, well, how much of these things are really necessary? So, for example, I take a note if I'm out somewhere and I need to just capture something. I will just say, hey, S, here's a note, capture this thing. And all that does is that just creates garbage and clutter. And I was looking at it, I said, oh my gosh, I'm becoming a little bit of a tiny note hoarder. And so I have to get rid of them. You will find that doing this, everyone, is very freeing when it comes to your work life and your personal goals that you're trying to do in the coming years. When you actually know where all your stuff is digitally, you will know where to go for the things that you have. I think we're becoming very good at understanding how much stuff we have in our house, right? There's lots of ways of decluttering your home, your kitchen, your bedroom, your clothes, your everything else, your garage. There's all kinds of great ways of doing that. But I think we're forgetting the fact that our digital lives can become encumbered as much as anything else. So that is the next step for me when it comes to planning out the future years and how do I think about it. So in the next next one I'll share how I actually go through the planning session, and you'll find that it's different than just a 1 year plan. So that's a little bit of a teaser for you. So this is Winston Wilson, Fearless Productivity. You can be very intentional about getting what you need to get done, and do not have fear, because one of the things that impedes us the most from being productive is the fear of what we will find once we start being productive. Thanks so much. I'll talk to you. I'll see you again in the very next episode.